on, guys? Welcome to Vinyasa Flow Yoga. It's Monday night and we're going to do a Yang Yin flow. So it's going to be a little bit of everything, kind of a faster flow at the beginning just to get your body warmed up, and then we'll hold some poses near the end for the cool down. So let's get started on your mats. Oh, by the way, you might want to grab a couple blocks or a bolster if you have them. If you don't have them, then that's fine as well. You can do the poses at the end without them, but I just highly suggest that. So come onto your mat, we'll start in child's pose. So bring your knees wide, big toes are touching, stretch your arms forward and bring your forehead down to the mat. Take long, deep breaths in and out through the nose here. On your exhales, allow the shoulders to drop down, sink down, and just feel heavy. On your inhales, you want to think about lengthening throughout the spine. On your next inhale, let's lift up, walk off the mat to the left, bow to your left knee. Okay, over to the other side, bowing to your right knee, dropping down. Keep the lungs open, keep breathing deeply into the side of the body. Then come back to center from there. Let's come up into tabletop pose. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders and knees underneath your hips. Take your lift your right leg back behind you and then bring that right knee behind your left knee. Walk forward with your hands and bow. Drop the head down to the mat again, pulling the hips back. On your next inhale, lift up, walk your hands underneath your shoulders and then lift your right leg up and then swing it out to the right, toes pointing forward, and then lift your right arm up to the sky, turning open to the right. Exhale and bring your right hand down to the floor and then walk over to your right leg and bow towards your right knee. Release, come on back to center, and then rise on up, reach up with both arms, and then drop your right arm down to your right leg. You can look on up at your left arm there. Try to keep both shoulders pulling back, tailbone dropping down here. So the stretch should feel just in the side body. You don't want to turn the body this way, twisting. Just going to keep the chest facing the front of the mat there, and the hips squared. Okay, and then we're going to come back into kind of a half camel type position. So your leg is still out here, and then we're just going to drop the left hand back to the heel, and then look over the shoulder with the right arms going over top here. And just turn around, keep holding, and this is how it looks from the front. So I'm just kind of leaning back. If it's too much, you can also tuck those toes under, so you're up a little bit higher. If dropping down that far is too far, you can also kind of just grab a hold onto the back of the left leg there and just kind of look over the shoulder that way. From there, to get out of the pose, we're just going to just kind of follow through that motion. That right arm's going to go to the left, and then you can bring your body around and then plant the hands onto the floor. Bring your right knee back in. Do a cow cat, round the spine, release the spine, and then come back to neutral spine, and then lift your left leg back behind you, and then tuck the left knee behind the right knee. Walk forward into this version of puppy pose. So keeping the hips pulling back, you should feel the stretch in those hip flexors and low back, shoulders. And then rising back up on your inhale, bring the hands underneath your shoulders, lift that left leg, swing it out to the left, and then right away open that left arm. So leaning to the right, try to really get things open here, as well as that breath. Keep breathing deeply into the belly, deep breaths out. Drop down and then walk over to the leg, reaching towards the foot, bowing towards the knee or thigh. And then releasing, come on back to center. Rise up from there. We'll go to gate pose, reaching up with both arms. Take the left arm down to the left. You can look up at the right arm here and just focus on pulling that right shoulder back. Trying to get the best stretch you can on the right side of the body. And then releasing, okay, and then we'll drop back. And again, you can tuck your right toes under for this one, or not. We're looking over the right shoulder. Pressing the hips forward here. Keep breathing deeply, both hips pressing forward. To release, we're bringing that left arm to follow through to the right, and then we're pulling out of that position to come back to center. Bring your left knee back in. Do cow cat, a few of them this time. Inhale, dropping the belly. Exhale, rounding the spine. Move around in circle motion. Pick a direction to move to. Do a few circles and then switch to the other direction. And then start to bend into the elbows, getting the chest down low, rising up. And just keep thinking about circling around in the hips. Also breathing into the hips, or visualize breath moving into the hips anyways. Now back to center, and then walk the hands a little forward, tuck your toes under, and then let's come up into downward facing dog. So begin pedaling it out, warming up the calves, warming up the backs of the legs here. Moving, shifting the weight, and just kind of playing with how this feels, just noticing how your body feels in this first downward facing dog. So you shift the weight around, bending the knees, looking underneath your right armpit, left armpit, slightly changing the angles up in the weight transfer just to feel in different parts of the body. Breathing into the back, throughout the back. Keep looking forward now at the hands, and then you can step up to them. So can we do the forward fold at the top of the mat? And just release the head, drop the arms. Pick up the toes, spread the toes wide, and drop them onto the floor. Spread out the weight all throughout the toes, through the heels, the outer edges and inner arches of your feet. Come back to center, rise up all the way. to standing. Lift arms above your head, deep breath in, and then open up the arms and swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the floor. Step your right foot back, drop your right knee down to the floor. Just one breath here in crescent lunge. Exhale, hands to the floor. Step back into plank pose, holding for 3, 2, 1. Lower through chaturanga. Lift into up dog or cobra, and then come back into downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward. Just one breath here in crescent lunge. Inhale. Exhale, hands down to the floor. Step forward to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up all the way, reaching up. And then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Left foot steps back, left knee down. One breath, inhale, exhale, step back, move through chaturanga, or holding that plank pose this time on the other side. Right leg holding, 2, 1, lowering through chaturanga, lifting into up dog, coming back into down dog. Then the left foot steps, right knee down, inhale, exhale, step forward to the top. Inhale, halfway, exhale, hold, inhale, rise up all the way, reaching up. Hands to the heart, clasping your fingers, pressing down. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, hands back behind you, clasping behind you. Pull back, look up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, rise up all the way. Arms reaching up. Exhale, clasp and press. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Clasp and pull. Look up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, rise up. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, pull back. Exhale, fold forward. Hold the forward fold. Inhale, rise up all the way. Arms reach up, and then swan dive, bring it all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the floor, and then lift your right leg back behind you. So kick it so straight back, so you're in a standing split position. You can bend your left knee if you can't quite touch the floor, just right up onto your fingertips for stability there. So you should feel your right hamstrings kind of kick in, your right glute muscles fire up as you're trying to keep that leg lifted. That's all good. Take another deep breath, lift a little bit higher, and then step back all the way. Drop your right knee down to the floor and crescent lunge. Another deep breath in and out. And then hands down to the floor. Come back into plank pose. Now with this left leg, we're gonna kick it underneath the right leg for side plank. Floating that bottom leg, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then coming back to plank, and then bringing that left leg now out to the left and holding plank for 5, so split plank. 4, try to keep your bum down low so you're not up here. 2, 1, and either pick up that leg and drag it back, or slide it back to plank, lower through chaturanga. Up dog cobra, and then downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, left knee down to the floor, holding crescent lunge, 2 breaths. Breathe, hips are driving forward. Hands down to the floor. Step forward to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up all the way. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, hands to the floor. Left leg reaches back and up into the air. So holding that, should feel the left leg fire up. Hamstrings, glute muscles. A little bit higher, inhale, and then exhale, step back. Drop your left knee down to the floor, crescent lunge. And then hands down to the floor. Now the right leg comes back into plank pose, and kick that right leg underneath your left leg for side plank. floating that bottom leg as best you can. 4, pulling that bottom shoulder under, 2, and then 1, and then coming back to plank pose, and then split plank. So slide that leg out, foot maybe in the same line as your hands. If you have the flexibility, just out to the side. Both legs are straight. 2, 1, and then bringing it back into plank pose. Lowering through chaturanga, lift into up dog or cobra, and come back into downward facing dog. Step the left foot, right knee down to the floor, arms reaching up to breaths, and hands down to the floor, stepping forward to the top of the mat. Halfway lift, inhale, exhale, fold, inhale, rise up all the way, and hands to the heart. Step your feet wide as your mat. Clasp your fingers, press down. Inhale, lift the arms, side bend to the left side, pushing out through your palms here. And then come back to center and then drop into a squat. So pull the hips way back and reach your arms reaching forward. Same line as your shoulders. Keep pushing through your palms. See if you can float your toes. So lift your toes off the ground so the weight's in your heels. Keep holding the squat. Get down a little bit lower and then push through the heels and stand up all the way, arms above head, and then go over to the right. Good, and come back to center and then back into that squat. So again, just nice and slow. Think about your form, pulling way back, see if you can float your toes. I'm just gonna face this way. So we're gonna just start to release the hands in front of you and then drop the left forearm onto the left thigh and the right arm's going to reach up. If that's too much, just bring your right hand onto your hip. I know it's pretty leg heavy. That's the point. Going over to the other side, the right forearm down onto the leg. You should feel your legs talk to you at this point. And then come back to center, holding elbows on, forearms onto the legs, holding the squat. Lifting your chest forward, floating toes. 3, 2, 1. Now push through those heels and then release, sweep arms overhead. Inhale, exhale, arms down by the side. Stepping to the top of the mat, sweep up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, hands to the floor. Right leg comes back in that standing split again. Bend into the knee. And just keep holding. Holding and try to keep that foot up nice and high. Breathing. Straighten the leg. And then step back. So come into that crescent lunge, reaching up with the arms. Let's twist to the left side, reaching out through the arms. Right arm forward, the left arm back. Tipping back, left hand's gonna go to the back of the right leg and looking over that left shoulder there, or you can look up at the ceiling. All right, so we're gonna cartwheel out of this position with right hand, left hand, and then we're going to kick up again with that right leg, so coming forward, kicking up, and then revolve half moon. Left arm reaching up. Left hand can also just go onto your hip, your left hip if you want. So lift your chest forward, try to spiral forward, try to keep reaching back through that right leg. Bring the left hand back onto the floor, step back into that low lunge again, crescent lunge. Pull back into a half monkey split. So straighten out through the left leg, the toes lift, and the foot is flexed. You don't have to sit back on the heel like I am. You can always be somewhere in between here. Remember that you can always use blocks to assist you. We're gonna come forward into the lunge and then step back into plank pose with the left leg coming up into the air, and then we're gonna take it over top of the right leg to go to wild thing. So that right leg would be straight and the left knee would be bent. And you're either going to wild thing, if you want to try the rock star position, then your legs, your feet are parallel and hips are facing the ceiling, but your chest would be kind of facing more to the left. Your bottom shoulder, your right shoulder pulling underneath you, left arm overhead. Keep breathing, keep pressing the hips up. And then slowly come back into plank. So you can do that one-legged plank or four-legged plank. Keep holding whatever plank you're going to choose for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then lower through, chaturanga. So take it into up dog, and then take it back into downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, left knee to the floor. Arms going to reach up. And twisting to the right side. Breathing deep. Right hand comes to the back of your leg here, of your left leg. Looking over the shoulder, looking up at the ceiling. Maybe 2 more breaths here. Keep breathing, lifting, pressing hips forward. Windmilling out, the left hand, right hand. Down to the ground. Okay, we're going to come up and do that standing split on the right leg this time. So kick up the left leg, revolve half moon. The left hand will stay there, the right arm will reach up. You're revolving to the right side this time. Draw up through the belly, spiral forward through the crown of the head. Reach back through that left leg very strongly, holding the inner thighs together. And release, bring the right hand onto the floor, step back. Drop the left knee to the floor, and then come back into half monkey split, lifting the right toes this time. Flexing the foot, breathing into that stretch. One more breath. And then come around, or come forward into a lunge, and then come back into plank. That left leg, right leg's gonna go over top of the right leg. Right leg's gonna go over top of the left leg for a wild thing. Or flip up into your rock star position. Or one arm upward facing bow. Keep lifting up through the hips, squeezing the glutes here to push the hips into extension. Keep activating. Keep breathing. Slowly come back around. Now that right leg's going to stay floating up into the air, and then we're going to step forward with the right foot, and then we're going to come to standing split and holding. Coming back to where we were in that standing split at the top of the mat, and then bending into your left knee, holding the bent left knee this time. Try to keep the left knee pointing straight back as you're bending. So you're doing this hamstring curl. You should feel like your hamstrings are working. You should feel like your glute muscles are working there. And then stepping the left foot to the right foot. Okay, so we're back at the top of the mat, and we're going to sink down into Utkatasana. So toes are touching, knees are touching, and then we're gonna reach forward. Let's get into some twists. Bringing the hands to your heart. Inhale and exhale to the left side first. So right elbow onto the left knee. Hips pulling back. Breathing. Unwind, Stay in your squat, reach forward, hands back to the heart. Twist to the other side. Over to the right side, left elbow, right knee. Try to draw the center of your chest to your thumbs, or your thumbs to the center of your chest. Pulling the right shoulder back. And release. Reach forward, stand up. Inhale, exhale, hinge forward all the way down. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, jump or step back into plank pose. Come down onto your forearms for dolphin plank pose. Holding dolphin plank pose here. Try not to lift up like you're going to dolphin. We will do that in just a moment. But try to keep the hips down low so that your core feels like it's engaged. Okay, keep holding. Now see if you can lift your right leg up off the ground. Bring it down. Lift your left leg off the ground. If you need to drop a knee, if you need to drop your right knee, say for this one, then you can go ahead. Releasing down. Now side, going over to your left side. So turn your left forearm in, push over to the left, spin to the left, stack your feet and see if you can lift your right arm up. See if you can lift your top leg up. That's your right leg. Bring it down, other side. So bring your forearm in. Now you're spinning your hips. You're on your right side, left arm lifting up. So shoulder should be, your elbow should be right underneath your shoulder there. See if you can lift that top leg up. Keep holding. Keep drawing the core in. And then down, and then coming back to dolphin plank pose. And then start to walk your feet towards your elbows to lift your hips to dolphin pose. So hips should be quite high, but you want to start pushing the weight back into your legs. Should feel like a greater shoulder stretch here. Heels reaching towards the floor, but unless you're really flexible in those in your calves, then your heels are probably off the floor quite a bit. So keep pushing the heels down so that you're getting a stretch. We're probably trying to bring that weight back into the legs. So your head's not on the floor. The stretch should feel like it's in your shoulders. Shoulders are actively holding you up. Okay, now we're going to release the knees down. And then replace those elbows with your hands. Walk all the way up so that you're on your knees and shins. And then lift up through the arms. Take the hands back, and we'll come to camel pose. So either hands on your low back if you just want a little bit of a back stretch. If you want deeper, then on your hamstring or heels. And keep pressing your hips forward and rolling those shoulders back. Make sure that you're connected to your breath. You're not holding your breath. You're keeping that flow. If you feel like you're holding your breath, then you need to modify your pose. Come out of the pose somewhat so that you can gain that control back over your breath. Okay, we're going to slowly lift out of the pose. So come forward, up, and then bring the hands onto the floor. Come up into downward facing dog. Walk it out. Look forward at the hands, step or hop up to them. Inhale halfway, exhale forward fold, then inhale rise up all the way. Hands to your heart. Okay, so standing figure four is our next pose here, balance pose. Balancing on the left foot. So flex your right foot and place the right foot on top of your left knee. So you can definitely use a wall or some assistance for this one if you feel like your balance is off, but try it without first, and basically trying and failing is how your body is going to learn. So don't worry about falling out. That's just your body's way of telling you that it's learning, which is a good thing. And then eventually it'll happen. It'll all come together. But you've got to make those mistakes for your body to learn anything. So just keep breathing though. Even if you're here, you're not very down very low. That's fine. Again, just as long as you're feeling it, you should feel the stretch. But it's also a challenging balance pose as well. So the stretch you'll feel that on your right glute and your hip flexor there. Hands can be at the heart. You can sink down lower and reach the floor, but make sure you are keeping on bending that left knee. So the left leg is not straight, it is bent. Putting your hips in flexion is what is going to make that stretch happen in your glute muscle, and the chest pulling towards that shin will make it more intense. We're gonna slowly come out of that position and walk it out. Switching sides, so balancing on your right foot and then taking your left foot on top. So make sure that foot is flexed. That'll help protect your knee joint. So yeah, coming on down and just think about your hips pulling way back. If it helps, bring your hands onto your hips and just push on them so that they're pulling back, and that'll help kind of lengthen the spine out as well. So just kind of giving yourself these subtle cues can make a huge difference in your pose. Weight back, so if you can think about it, the weight is coming more back into your right heel as you're balancing. The more your hips pull back, the greater chance that you'll have at finding your center here, because your belly is pulling back and your belly is engaged. So it's all going to come down to your core here for that balance. Lots of breath happening. Deep breaths in and out. And again, you can touch the floor for this one if you feel like it, or if you're used to doing that particular modification, but definitely you can just stay here and enjoy the intensity as it is. All right, so we're gonna slowly come out of that position as well and shake it up. We're gonna go through Vinyasa before we do some more balancing. Stepping to the top part of the mat, reaching up with the arms, inhale, exhale, folding forward. Inhale halfway, exhale, jump or step back. Lower through, chaturanga. Inhale to up dog, exhale to downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward and drop your left heel to the floor. Let's come to warrior one. Sweep the arms up, take it out to warrior two position, come back into reverse warrior. Just holding. Little bit of a back bend, a little bit of a side bend, and then coming back to warrior two position, facing forward into warrior one, and then take the hands back behind you, clasping behind you, pull back, squeeze shoulder blades, bow forward, and fly. Lifting that left leg back behind you. Pulling back through the arms as best you can, maybe bowing forward into more of a standing split position. So a little much more challenging if you're pulling that chest towards your thigh. Should feel your ankle stabilizers go nuts as your body tries to figure out how to balance. And then coming out all the way, and then just stepping forward to the top part of the mat, reaching up with both arms. Inhale, exhale, folding forward. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, jump or step back to plank, lower through chaturanga, lift into up dog, come back into down dog. Step the left foot forward, right heel down to the ground. Let's do the other side. Warrior one, warrior two, opening up. Reverse warrior. Breathing deep. Then back into warrior two position, facing forward into warrior one position. Okay, hands back behind you to clasp. Pull back through the arms, through the knuckles, shoulder blades squeezing together, bow forward, and then fly. So definitely if you feel more comfortable staying in this upward position, the warrior three position, go ahead. If you feel like a little bit more of a challenge, then bowing forward, more of the standing split style position. Try it out. Again, failure is a good thing when you're learning a new pose or anything new, as long as you just keep on trying. Okay, and then coming out of that position and stepping forward to the top of the mat, reaching up with both arms. Inhale, exhale, folding forward. All right, halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, jump or step back, find plank. Lower through. So bring it into up dog or cobra. Let's just hold this for 5, for 4, shoulders back, 3, 2, 1. Coming back into down dog. Bending the knees, just walk it out a little bit. Again, holding a little bit longer. Breathing into that back. Looking forward, stepping or hopping up to the hands. And halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, bow. Inhale, rise up all the way, reaching up. And then exhale, hands to heart. So next one we're going to do is just is tree pose. We can do different variations of tree pose. We haven't done that in a while. A classic balance pose. So balancing on the left foot first, pick up your right foot and bring it above or below the knee. So either inner thigh or down to the calf. If you want to do the half lotus type tree position, you can hold that. And if you find it hard to keep your foot there, then just hold on to it with your left hand. Hold on to your right foot with your left hand. Another alternate position is taking your right hand and reaching behind your back and then grabbing on to maybe your elbow pit or your bicep there. So it's kind of creating this bind behind your back and adding a little bit more stability to the position as well. And you're going to kind of hook onto your right big toe with your left peace sign fingers for that full position once you've got it. You can also do the half lotus. I'm just going to throw different variations here. So the half lotus position, if you feel comfortable with keeping your leg there, and arms above your head. Hands together or hands separate. Okay, otherwise any tree trunk and tree branch is totally cool. And just kind of focus ahead of you, something ahead of you that's not moving, maybe perhaps on the floor. Bringing your attention back to your breath. So just take another deep breath in and out. And then we'll release. Okay, and then you can just walk it out, shake it out, and we'll move to the other side. So balancing on your right foot, and again, little tree here. If you're just not used to balancing at all, don't use anything. Don't use a wall, don't use a chair. Just I'd rather you try this than try and do this and hold on to a chair, because holding on to a chair is not going to do anything for your body and how it learns how to balance. Okay, so start just down low. That way you're grounded and you have more control around your foot. And then you graduate to here as the next step, and then you graduate to the half lotus and all the other fancy things. Okay, so again, just whatever position you would like to take. Your left arm will reach behind your back and hold onto your right elbow, bicep, elbow pit behind you. If you want to try the bind, say you're just in tree but you don't want to do the half lotus, just try the bind behind you. I'm just going to flip around. So that's what it looks like behind you, just holding on behind you, and then you will do your regular tree pose. So that could be just something different as opposed to just hands in front or reaching up. So still kind of working your shoulder and that external rotation, which is always good. Working your body in different ranges of motion to help with that mobility. So again, just kind of holding, breathing. And if you need to take a break and then get back into it, that's always helpful as well. Sometimes the muscles get fatigued and they just need a few seconds to get that lactic acid out, and then you can get back into it. Dropping the shoulders down. If you're in the spine position, try to keep the shoulders dropping down. All right, so let's release here just nice and slowly and let that go. Take it to the top of the mat, sweep arms above your head, take a deep breath in. Exhale, hinge forward, bring it down, forward fold. So halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, step your right foot back into a lunge, and then lift your arms up to the sky, find crescent lunge. So we'll take a prayer twist from here. The hands are going to come to the heart. Take an inhale. And exhale, twist to your left side, the right elbow onto the left knee. Now you can straighten out through that right leg now. If you want to go a little bit more balancy, really try to push through that leg if you are attempting to straighten out that right leg. If you want to open up the arms, your right hand comes to the floor and left arm reaches up to the sky. Releasing out of that twist, bring the hands onto the floor and then step back into plank pose, lower through chaturanga. Into up dog or cobra, and then come back to down dog, walk it out. And with that, step forward with the right foot, left knee down to the floor, arms above your head for crescent lunge. And the hands to the heart. Inhale, then exhale, twist to your right side. Left elbow onto the right knee. So again, you can stay here and you can just continue to look down. You can look up at your shoulder. Lift the leg up or lift the knee off the floor. Couple more breaths here. And then releasing out of that twist position, bring the hands to the floor, step back into plank, lower through chaturanga. Bring it into up dog or cobra, holding for 3, for 2, and for 1. Then coming back into downward facing dog, walking it out. On your next inhale, lift your left leg up into the air, bend into the left knee. Okay, and we're just going to do a few scorpions here. So we're going to bring that left knee to the left elbow as you come forward into plank pose. And then we're going to kick the leg away As you come back up into downward facing dog and bend the knee again. So come forward, bend the knee, bend the knee, bend the knee. Contact, straighten, 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 push away. And then at the top of that down dog, you're bending the knee again. Let's try that one more time. Come forward, bend the knee, tap the elbow, straighten, push away. And then bend the knee. That three-legged down dog, step forward into warrior one. Drop that right heel to the floor, reaching up with your arms there. Come on to warrior two. Breathing deep. This is your reverse warrior. Warrior two. Straighten through the front leg, reach forward, drop into Trikonasana. Lifting up, we're not going to stay here for too long. We're about to go to half moon here. Okay, to get to half moon from Trikonasana, we're going to start to bend into the left knee there, and then reach forward. So if you don't have the flexibility, you can hold on to a block, which I will demonstrate since I have the block. So you'd have the block in front of you here, and then you would just stay looking to the right side and move into your half moon. Okay, and if you don't need the block, then you're just touching the floor, holding up the fingertips, and try to reach out through your right leg, right arm, trying to take up space. If you want to try doing a bind here, then you can bend into your right knee and catch the top of your right foot for your half moon variation. Pulling the heel, right heel in towards your right seat there, rolling your right shoulder back. All right, and then coming out, we're just going to reach out to half moon, step back into warrior two. Come back again to reverse warrior, and then we'll windmill and take it all the way down. Break it down to plank, lower through chaturanga. We're going to up downward cobra, and then come back into downward facing dog. Okay, the next side here, the last flow before we get into some yin. So I'm going to lift up that left leg, bend into the left knee, bring the left knee to your left elbow, and then you straighten it away, push it away, and then you bend at the top again. Come forward, tap the knee, straighten the leg, reach away, bend the knee at the top. One more time, bend, bend, bend the knee, and then push it away, back up into that scorpion, three-legged down dog, and then we'll step forward to the warrior one position. Reaching up, and exhale it out. Inhale back. Enjoy. Warrior two. Straighten through the front leg. Trikonasana, reach, drop the hand down. So finding Trikonasana just to get your body prepped for your half moon. That big side stretch. Opening the shoulders. Front knee, a little bit bent, not totally an extension. All right, so for the half moon, you can bring that top hand to your hip here if you feel like you need a little bit more control. And again, if you have a block in front of you, go ahead and use the block, but bend your knees so that you can reach in front of you here. So you're starting, this is going to be where you're going to be headed, so we're going to lift up and then move into that space. And then from there, you just want to make sure that your hand's not too close to your foot, because that's going to throw you off balance. You want that hand to be underneath your shoulder. So you're trying to stack your joints again here, and then once you've found your ground, then you'll be stable enough to reach out and really find the power in your leg, in your floating leg and your floating arm there. And if you want to do that, fine. Like I showed you on the other side, you'd be bending into your left knee and then catching the top of the foot, and then you want to kind of roll everything back as best as you can. So it is a tougher move. Might be easier if you had a block to try it out. All right, and then releasing out, and then we'll come back into that warrior 2 position. So take that reverse forward, inhale, and then exhale, break it down. Come back to plank pose, chaturanga. Inhale to up dog, exhale to downward facing dog. All right, pigeon is next. We're gonna lift the right leg up and then bring the right shin up to the wrist. And then holding that upward facing pigeon here, so the chest is lifting, so not laying down just yet, just holding as best as you can to kind of keep the hips square. So notice if you're rocking up over onto your right side or your left side, just try to use your hands to keep yourself upright and lifting forward in this position. Breathing into that sensation, wherever you're feeling it. Should feel like it's pretty intense in the glutes, hip flexors on that right side. That's what we're aiming for. If you have troubles getting into pigeon pose, then you can, I'm just gonna flip around this way, show you a modification. So you're here, lifting here, but you can drop that right hip down and then bend into that left knee and then sink forward like that. So you can bring that left knee in as much as you need to, and you can take that right shin out a little bit more to drop down. Okay, but that's only if it's pretty difficult to even get into pigeon. So take another deep breath in, and then we're going to exhale, bring it on down. If your hips are super tight as well, another thing you can do is just put some cushion underneath your right hip. If you feel like your right hip is way over and you're leaning over to your left side because your hips are so tight, then you can add a little bit of cushion underneath your right hip there, and that might help you just relax into it a little bit more. So laying forward fold. Of course, if you enjoy the sensation of just lifting and just holding as we were, if you like a little bit more intensity, then, or if you're working into kind of the king pigeon pose, then practicing keeping that lift and extension in the spine is what you want to be practicing. So you can stay here for the duration of your pigeon position, but just making sure that you're breathing and the intensity, or your breath is matching the intensity that you feel in your position. So taking longer exhales is definitely key when you're trying to relax in these hip openers. So just keep on doing that. time, we're gonna slowly come back up and tuck your back toes under and press yourself back into downward facing dog. Walk it out. Undo the left leg. You can reach it back behind you and then bring the shin forward up to the wrist. And then again, just trying to prop yourself up with your hands, pulling shoulders down and back, and just trying to breathe as best as you can. And then at your own time here, just take another deep breath in that upward position. And then on your exhale, you can sink lower. If you have a bolster block in front of you and that makes you feel more supported, then you can definitely use that position. Otherwise, just try to, again, relaxing and breathing deep into the position. Noticing the difference in the size of your bodies, bringing that awareness as well to what you're feeling. All right, a couple more breaths here on this side. All right, and then slowly start to press on up. Tuck your back toes under and press back to downward facing dog, walking it out. Alright, so step your right foot forward and walk your right foot out to the right. We're going to do a lizard lunge now. So your hands are just in front of you. Again, if you have blocks, maybe even if you just have one and this feels more comfortable, just adding a little bit of height into your position, and that's fine as well. The idea for intensity is the lower your chest gets down, the more intense you're going to feel this position. So again, just trying to feel, everyone's going to look differently in this pose, and I'll just throw different modifications out there. You can untuck your back toes. For one, tucking or untucking doesn't matter. It's just going to be more personal preference, so there's no right or wrong. For an added kind of binding situation, if you want to go a little bit further, you're in this position, and then you get your right shoulder down nice and low, and you kind of wrap your hand around the top part of your foot, and then you pull down. So you're hugging, you're trying to get your shoulder down, and you're also kind of pushing with this shoulder, pushing the knee kind of open at the same time. So it gets quite a bit more intense if you like intensity. So I'm just going to throw that one out there. But regular, maybe you can just bring your right or your left forearm onto the floor. You can also bring your right forearm. The right forearm to get down to the floor is going to require a little more flexibility in your hip flexors. But you can also just kind of lean and look to the right, lean to the left and kind of look to the right, and then you can kind of graduate to the binding kind of positions if you would like to as well. And again, just kind of choosing your own adventure and breathing as you were. Alright, so slowly bring yourself out of that position. And we're just going to gently rock to the left so that your right leg can slide and come away back behind you into tabletop position. And then we'll go to down dog from there. Walking it out. Okay, and then we'll go to the other side. So stepping your right foot forward, you can step your left foot forward, and you can step right to the edge and just kind of get into it right away here. So again, just playing with your range of motion on this side. Try to do what you did on the other side if available. And if not, again, just as close as you can to that specific modification, whatever that you did, then that would be great. Trying to create that symmetry within your body. Going back to your Ujjayi breath, and just really focusing on your breath once you've found your position. Don't feel like you need to stick with that position. You can play around with all sorts of ways of opening up the leg here in the lizard lunge. You can also open up the sole of the foot, and the knee kind of opens up to the side, just to get a different sensation, different feel out of the position as well. Focusing on the breath surrounding your back, breathing into the hips, breathing into the belly, checking in with your jaw as well. So again, some tension could be hidden in your jaw just for some unconscious reason, just because the pose could be uncomfortable, and then you just want to see if you can consciously relax parts that are unaffected by this stretch, just because. All right, so take another deep breath where you are. And then we'll come out of that position. And again, just kind of leaning to the right side so that you can come out of that pose without jarring your body too much. Back to tabletop pose, then down dog. Walking it out, breathing it out. Looking forward at the hands, and then just coming down. You can drop down to the knees. We're going to swing around the legs here so that we're on the seat. Pada Konasana, soles of the feet together. And just start by taking the hands back behind you here and lifting the chest forward, drawing the shoulders back. And as best as you can, try to just let the knees drop down. Be using your leg muscles to help with that. If it helps to sit on a block, then you can also do that. And then you can release your hands hands from behind you and bring them in front of you. Grabbing on underneath the feet here for a little bit more support. And then we start to draw the elbows towards yourself and lean forward without rounding your spine. Again, just try to let the knees drop down, and you can use your forearms or elbows to help with that. So you can gently press down and assist yourself. Then we're going to release it, come up a little bit, and then hold on to your feet with just your left hand, and then we're going to lean to the left, and then gently press your palm into your inner right knee thigh, and then just kind of pull the shoulder back. So a little bit of a twist, a little bit of a side bend, and then do the same on the other side. So again, just very gently leaning to the right side, kind of pushing away the left, and then coming back to center. So next is going into wide V set, and again, definitely can use your block for this one as well. Toes pointing up towards the ceiling. We're just going to take a deep breath and lift the arms up, deep breath in, and then exhale, reach forward at an angle and holding that position. Think about this length happening from your sides of your body and the low back, and then all the way down, releasing the hands down to the floor. Doesn't matter where. If you feel more comfortable holding onto your feet, then go ahead and hold onto your feet. If you feel comfortable having a big bolster in front of you to hug onto, then definitely do that. Breathing into your back. Don't worry about trying to keep your back super flat, or you can round it and just breathe as you were. You'll still get your hamstrings no matter what if you're leaning forward in this one. Taking your time, coming out of that position, coming up. All right, so let's get on to the spine from here. So grabbing onto the backs and knees, or not grabbing onto the backs and knees, tucking the chin, rounding your spine, rocking back, inhaling, and then exhaling, rolling forward. Inhale back, exhale. Grabbing onto the backs and knees is definitely more helpful. If you feel this is challenging, then just hold onto the backs and knees and kind of make yourself more into a tight ball. Okay, and then coming back to a happy baby pose. So coming onto your back, grabbing onto the knees, grabbing onto the shins, or grabbing onto the toes or your feet. Rocking from side to side. All right, so holding on to your right knee and let the left leg go away down onto the floor here. So give your right knee a good squeeze in, and then guide your right knee over to the left side. Reach your right arm out to the side, stretch it out for that reclined twist. So you're applying a little bit of pressure, left hand onto your right knee there to help the knee down down to the floor. So applying a little bit of that pressure will help increase that twist feeling. Should feel it across the low back, get through the hip flexors on the right side. Playing around with range of motion in that shoulder on that right side. Your time here coming out, and pull your right knee in and then send it away, switching sides. Bring that left knee in, give it a good squeeze in, and then guide the left knee over to the right side. You're reaching your left arm out to the left, your right hand on your left knee, drawing it down to the floor to increase that twist and that stretch in through the low back there. Playing around with the range of motion in your shoulder on this side as well, angling the arm down below your shoulder, above your shoulder, and also if it feels okay, you can turn your head slowly from left to right, checking in with if there's any stress or tension in the neck, and just get unkinking any kinks. And you're coming out of that position, draw both knees in, give yourself a hug. Squeeze up and in. Deep breath into the back. Try to take a really deep breath in. And then exhale, relaxing. So we're going to roll back up, grab onto the backs of the knees, and you can kind of help yourself by pulling the knees in and then using that momentum to rock yourself up. So here we'll lay back on a bolster or a couple blocks if depending on what you have. So with the bolster, we're going to do some chest opening, shoulder opening here. So the bolster is going to run along the spine. Your seat will be on the floor, so you're just sitting on the floor, and then you're going to butt the bolster up against your low back there, and then you're just going to lay back, so your head should be supported. If you have a short bolster, then you can use a pillow underneath your head as well to kind of lengthen that out. And then your arms are going to be extended out. My feet are together in Baddha Konasana, so that I can open the hips, but if you feel comfortable, feet onto the floor with your knees bent and opening your arms like that, then that will be fine too. You can also straighten the legs out. So depending on what you're comfortable with. If you don't have the bolster, use a couple blocks. Running again long. Mostly we want to get into those shoulder blades. So the block will go long ways here. So running along the length of your spine, but it'll just be kind of sitting in between your shoulder blades. So you kind of have to play around with that. And then you see how my head will be off the floor. If that feels like it's too uncomfortable, then then using that second block to support your head be behind you, so just on top. So your blocks will end up looking like a T on your mat, and then your arms can spread out in a T as well. Feet can be on the floor with your knees bent. If you just have a pillow, that would also work. Just going, so right at your shoulder blades, right in between your shoulder blades there. Just something to elevate your chest, and then maybe to let your head drop back. Your head dropping back is not a big thing, but maybe creating a little bit too much extension on the neck. So that could cause a problem if you're not used to that range of motion. Some people do fine with it. So again, just depending on what you want, but the chest area is what we want to expand. So prop up with what you can. You can use a pool noodle, which I always like to use, and I have in the studio as well. I use pool noodles to lay back on, and if you have a foam roller, maybe those are a little bit more denser. So if you have a smaller foam roller, maybe that might work. You can use a rolled up mat and a rolled up blanket as well that would act like a kind of a snake and then running along the length of the spine as well, which would also work fabulous. I'm going to use the bolster that is the most comfortable for me. So yeah, once you get into your position though, open the arms, and then same thing here as what you want to do is just play around with range of motion, arms reaching alongside your ears, and just notice where you feel like it's tense or tight. You can also clasp your hands above your head, and that may help with that intensity too. So you can do that. If you just want to just lay and just be still, then that is awesome as well. And keep focusing on your breath here for the next few moments. We'll stay here for another minute or two. Focus on that breath moving into your belly. Big belly breaths, big breaths in through the lungs. How to in through the nose, out through the mouth. Sometimes it takes a while for your body to relax into a prop below you as well. So notice if your body is kind of resisting, which is totally normal, because we kind of are in this like with your shoulders rolling forward all day. So especially if you're sitting, even if you're walking, everyday posture, most people's shoulders tend to roll forward. So it's very rare that we get an opportunity to just open the chest. If you want to kind of just bring awareness to the chest, you can bring your fingertips onto your shoulders, like I'm doing here, and just kind of adding a little bit of weight. So I'm kind of pulling my hands apart, so I'm kind of pulling on the skin, stretching the fascia as well. So fascia may be tight, it may not just be all muscular, it could be fascia. So you're kind of pressing in, opening up, and think about widening the collarbones, and dropping the elbows back, and dropping the shoulder blades back as best as you can. Breathing into that space, breathing into that awareness. And as best as you can, just letting your body absorb whatever you're lying on. Absorbing that blanket beneath you, that bolster, that block. Notice your body contacting that object beneath you. And see if you can let your muscles can relax around it. to the right or to the left. Off your bolster, your block, you're moving your prop away, and then you're rolling back onto your back so that your back now is flat onto the floor. Now see if you can just keep your knees bent for a little while here with your feet flat to the floor. Bring your arms alongside the body and just enjoy that sensation of your back rounding into the floor. Breathing into that sensation. And then once you feel comfortable, you can straighten one leg at a time. If you would like to, you can, if you have that bolster, you can try to see what it's like putting that bolster underneath your knees, like so, and you can kind of open your knees this way. This is just allowing the back to, again, remain neutral, allowing that low back to pull in, allowing the tailbone to remain neutral as well. So it could be just more relaxing for you. Some people, it's not for everyone though, for sure. So just try it out if you have it, might as well. And otherwise, just moving into Shavasana, just try to be as comfortable as you can. If you feel like you're going to get cold, then definitely throw a blanket on and try to be as relaxed as possible here, and removing any kind of distractions you think you may feel in the next few moments or so. Begin by relaxing or closing the eyes and taking a deep breath in, filling the lungs, filling the belly. Deep breath in, really expanding everything. And then a slow deep breath out through the mouth. Visualizing the air moving out of the lungs and then emptying the belly all the way to the very bottom. You can pause at the bottom of that exhale and then begin again, or you can just go right into it. Imagine your body like a vessel filling up with water when you breathe in. Filling in, you're filling your belly first, and then you're filling up the top of the vessel with that water. And then when you pour out the liquid from the vessel, it's leaving from the top, so your lungs, and then emptying the belly last. So emptying every last drop out, and then beginning again. So if you like that visual, just kind of keep with that. And through every exhale, just making note that your body is relaxing here bit by bit through every exhale you take out. Letting go of something, letting go of some stress, whether it be muscular or mental, shedding some layers. Sinking deeper through the heels relax and contact into the floor. Your calf muscles begin to relax and soften, backs of the legs, knees. Feel your legs just feel heavy and allow them to feel heavy and relaxed, yet supported by your mat, by the earth. Bring your awareness, your breath awareness, mental awareness to your back. Notice space in your back, your low back, and notice maybe your mid-back there connecting, contacting the mat, along with your upper back. Feel your shoulder blades slide down on an exhale. Feel the backs of the arms resting, being supported by the floor and by the earth. Completely relax through the hands. Soft through the sides of the neck, back of the neck,
head to completely rest on the mat beneath him. Letting all the lines smooth out across the forehead and around the eyes. Eyelids heavy. Keep softening through the jaw. Completely relaxing the tongue in the mouth. Softening the collarbones, the chest, and abdomen. And just quietly observing as the breath continues to flow. So just taking your time, bringing the attention back to your breath. Notice the quiet through your body. And then notice your relaxed body breathing. Again, by taking that deep breath in, imagine just breathing in more energy to help spread out throughout the whole body. Watching that energy spread down through the legs to your toes, through your arms to your fingers, to the neck to the head. Allowing some sound to come through to help with that energy. And then bits of movement to help move it all along. So moving around in the arms or the hands, and maybe the arms reaching overhead. Maybe the feet, and then bending the knees to do windshield wipers. Letting the knees drop left and then right. So rolling or rocking over onto your right side. And then when you're ready, you could just make your way up to seated. So namaste everybody. Thanks for joining me tonight. Have a great rest of your week. If you would like to join me on Wednesday, I'm doing a HIIT core yoga class, and that will be a lot more cardio and strength intensive. So if you like that kind of thing, please join me. If not, then I will see you next Monday for another Vinyasa flow yoga class. Yeah, like this video, like this class if you liked it, and share it if you liked it even more. Check out archived videos on this Facebook page, and as well as Melissa Shippey YouTube channel. Leave a comment below, and yeah, have a great week everyone. Bye.